I viewed my dad, he emotionally was abusive to my mom as well as verbally. I did see my dad hit my mom. It was only like twice. I know that's twice too many, but as far as, physical abuse, there wasn't really anything. My dad was a very jealous man, very insecure. I realize now he's very narcissistic. So it was pretty much all about him. But in the verbal abuse and in the emotional abuse, I watched my mom crumble underneath that. And the way my dad did these things, my little mind came to the conclusions that women are hated, women are vulnerable, and women are weak. And that's why he was picking on my mom, basically. And then when I watched my mom respond out of these things, I saw that she was weak because she didn't know how to stand up for herself. She didn't know how to draw those boundaries because she was afraid of him. He could be angry in a moment. And I watched her be vulnerable in that as he continued to charge at her with words and those types of abuses. And she acted like she was hated. And so when I looked at all of that, I'm like, okay, so I'm like my mom, and my dad's this way, and my mom's that way, and I don't want to be hated. I don't want to be weak. I don't want to be vulnerable. So what else do I have but to become a man? When I was 7, my little brother was born, and he was celebrated tremendously. And whatever affection I had from my dad was now all turned to my little brother. So there was another lie that crept in there that I could be replaced. Boys are celebrated, women are replaced. And so that really affirmed, in order to get that affection, I had to be a boy, to be affirmed, to be okay, to be celebrated, to be good enough, or just to be enough. When I was 11, I have an older half-brother, and he began to molest me. And even though I felt that it was wrong, I had that lie in there, women are weak and women are vulnerable. So he was taking advantage of me, believing I was weak and vulnerable, not knowing how to stand up to him, and also knowing that if I told my dad would probably beat the living stuff out of him. My mom would probably deny it, as she did with anything else when confronted. She would be like, no, your dad's okay. The way he's treating me is okay. And so I grew up in this really unhealthy atmosphere. I was probably molested by my older brother until I was like 13. And I don't know why he stopped. I was just glad that he did. I saw myself as a heterosexual male. And to date women as a male was normal. I never viewed myself really as a woman per se, other than that was the part that I hated. That was the part that I was constantly pushing down and being detached from, as far as any identity, sexual identity as a woman or gender or anything. I totally wanted to be man. Because my mom wasn't nurturing, there was this nurture thing that I was missing. And I believe that's why I thought wanting to be with women was normal, because a lot of the women that I would choose would be very nurturing, very gentle, very soft, ones that needed to be protected. Because one of the vows that I made is that I'm going to be the man my dad is not. I'm not going to be an abuser. I'm not going to be those things that he is. So I took the hormones. Of course, right away, I started filling out muscularly. I started getting acne and started to grow a beard. And I think so I started at the age of 19, and I think from 19 forward, I don't think I was ever without a mustache once I was able to grow one. It was part of my identity. And then I continued to work out on top of that. So I got pretty buffed and then taking the hormones. And then I was taking an extra little bit more to make sure that I could keep up this physique. As I viewed my mom, I'm like, you were never very safe. And so I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be tough, so that no one can take advantage of me. I won't be weak, and I can protect the women that need protection. I did think of operations. In fact, I did have a mastectomy, but as far as below that, it was very expensive at that time. I went as far as going through the interviews for it and to see if I was a good candidate, and I was, but then again, it was the money, and financially I was just not in a place to continue that. And the deception I didn't realize how deep it was. I thought it was just me trying to be who I thought I was supposed to be, and I needed to get out of that. And as I moved forward into who God created me to be, I saw all those lies that I had embraced as truth. So it's important to have people surround you that will sit with you, that's not afraid of your messiness. And they can see what's going on around right here, but they understand that this stuff right here is not who you are. It's beyond that. It's who are you in that pain? What pain are you dealing with? What does that look like? And speaking truth into that, saying that's not who you are. That's not true of you. This is what's true of you. And speaking that truth, it's having that place of being able to be real. And sometimes it's ugly and it's messy, but those things have to be expressed. They have to be expressed. Because that's what got you into the deception in the first place. That's what got me there in the first place, was hanging on to all these lies, keeping my secret, keeping it all right here, not dealing with anything. And if it hurt, you went over here. I don't have time for you if it hurt, because this is my journey. But then coming around, the only way out of this is to go back through those things, to look at. And you're thinking of being born in the wrong body. I thought the very same things too. But as I've walked the journey outward, I don't believe there are exceptions, because there's something in there that has rooted a lie in you that is saying that this is not right. That you were born in the wrong body, you're wired totally wrong, there's something wrong with your hormones, there's something wrong with you. And I would say that's a lie, because there's nothing wrong with you. Something came in there, either an event, maybe it was a flippant remark, but it stuck with you for whatever reason. You came into agreement with that lie. And you said, yes, I believe that that's true. And from there, that little tiny seed began to take root and began to grow this tree and these branches. And then it began to produce fruit. And from that, this little tiny seed, it's usually roots of rejection, abandonment, abuse, whether that's emotional, physical, sexual. There's something in there, something traumatic that happened. Now, I've heard people say, but my parents loved me. We were raised in a great Christian home. Okay, but from 0 to 5, there's that, the formative years, and there was something in there that happened that was either traumatic, maybe you were abused and you don't remember. Most of the time, it's the root of rejection. I dealt with deep self-hatred. For some reason, I hated myself. Was that just because I was a woman? I think it was also because I didn't think I was good. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I didn't have any value. So there's something in there where that lie attaches to, and you believe it and you come into agreement with it, and then from there you begin to bear this fruit. You begin to manifest, I'm going to live as a guy. I'm supposed to be this way. And the other part is being willing to look at that, because honestly, it's a whole lot of pain. There's stuff that I don't know if I'd walk through it again, but yet I would walk through it again because of the freedom that I now have. Yeah, there's a lot of crappy stuff you're going to have to look at. There's a lot of crappy stuff that's going to bring up even more stuff that you're going to have to look at. But the only way out is to go back through it and have the truth revealed and what really happened in those situations. Because once we embrace that lie, we now have this filtering system, and everything is filtered through that lie. So even the truth can be all distorted when it comes through, and you're like, that's not the truth, because this here is what I have right now. That's the truth. So that can't be the truth. So even when it comes in, we reject it because of the seed that we have in our heart already of the lie. And because of the filtering system that we have, that we now view everything through this lens. And it needs to be cleaned out. And doing that is having people come with you, giving you the truth. Even though in the process, it took probably about 6 years before I could actually dress feminine, because in my heart, I didn't know that that was okay to embrace that. So the outside reflects the inner healing that has gone on, because you can't embrace what you're rejecting. The Lord's going to walk you through this, If you're obedient to those convictions that he brings, though you look at it and you go, this is a big mountain. Lord, I don't think I can climb it. He's not asking you to climb it in a day. He's just asking you to take one step. And as you take that one step, he's faithful to take that step with you. And it's knowing that he's not going to call you out to take you back to Egypt. He's just not like that. I haven't found him to be like that ever. I've only walked forward with him. Is there still things that he's revealing about my femininity? Yeah, he is. I'm not done by any means, but I am free. There's things that no longer hold me bound that I didn't think I would ever be free from, but I am.